One of the key benefits of our tools here at Knoema is that they allow us to pull together data from multiple disparate sources and kind of look at it together. And so we're constantly looking for these different topics that we can really dig into and kind of identify issues or evaluate issues from different perspectives. We've previously looked at globalization through this lens. We've also looked at forecasting performance from some of the major forecasting agencies. What we've looked at in this body of work is really this whole idea of automation and labor displacement. Now, this is a huge topic in the news. It's a fun thing for everybody to report on. And there are a lot of different academics and professionals, a lot of different companies trying to figure out what this whole AI and machine learning thing actually means for jobs. And there are dozens, potentially hundreds of different bodies that have put forecasts together, and then there are basically assumptions and expectations all across the spectrum of what this is going to mean for industry. What we've tried to do here is actually bring all of those together. So again, on the one hand, you've actually got some people who are making forecasts that says, look, this is actually not going to be a big deal. We have gone through a lot of different technology cycles. They do displace jobs, but they also create jobs. And so we're going to see a relatively minor and manageable transition here, with a great parallel being the whole idea that the automobile displaced the buggy whip manufacturer, to use an obvious example here. However, it also created a whole category of auto mechanic jobs. And again, those weren't necessarily individuals that switched from one to the other, but jobs were displaced, jobs were created, life goes on. At the other end of the spectrum is you have a lot of these forecasts that just basically say robots are going to take over the world here. Everybody is going to be out of work, and you're going to see 50+% displacement in jobs, which has led to this whole discussion around universal basic income and all of these other requirements to potentially, how do we support a global populace that is significantly and perpetually underemployed as a result of automation. So what we've tried to do here again is actually let's look at this whole body of work, and let's enable this body, or let's enable other professionals to look at all of these different forecasts together. So again, we can build on the body of all of the great research that other teams and other groups have put together here. So this is generally our goal, is not to say, hey, we think that this is right, or we think, a weighted average of all of these different forecasts is necessarily the way to go. But we really just do want to honor the idea that there are a ton of different perspectives here. All have assumptions. Some of these assumptions actually can be not necessarily backwards tested, but looked at in context of how some of these issues occurred in prior areas of technology, innovation, and labor disruption, and so on, and really help us all to think together on this and try to build a more coherent understanding, I guess, of how we expect this to play out. At the end of the day, for some this is academic, but for others we're actually trying to plan, right? So how do we develop strategies for our businesses and our public sector entities in this environment here? So we hope that we have contributed in some way towards that understanding, and we really appreciate your time and participation.